Alright, this video is covering solving equations. And the thing that you need to remember, for most equations, all you need to do is first get rid of the constant, then divide out the coefficient. So I'm going to give you an equation. Now this get rid of constant, divide coefficient, there are some variations on this, but for a lot of them, you just figure out a quick plan of attack. And for this equation, we'd want to get rid of the constant, then divide out the coefficient. Our plan of attack would be to subtract the 3 and then divide by 4. So we're going to tune into the side with the variable, and we're going to get rid of the constant. So we're going to rewrite the problem with a little bit of space. And we're going to get rid of the constant, which is that 3. We're going to put a minus 3 on both sides. We were adding 3 on the one side, and now we're getting rid of it by subtracting. And since equations are statements of balance, to keep it balanced, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. So when you take 3 minus 3, that ends up with nothing, so you're left with the 4n, and then 27 minus 3 is 24. And then over here, we're going to divide by 4, and that's to divide out the coefficient. So we're going to divide by 4, and that cancel out here. Well, it leaves you with 1n, and then 24 divided by 4 is going to be 6. And then you're going to want to double check. You take that 6, plug it back up here. 6 times 4 is 24 plus 3. You do get 27. Notice how the equal signs stay lined up. Some of you might have learned from another teacher to draw a line down where the equal sign is, just to help keep track of things. So for this one, we have 5n minus 4 equaling 36. We're going to tune into the left side of the equation since that's where the variable is. And our plan of attack for this one is going to be to add 4 to both sides, then divide both sides by 5. We're going to get rid of the constant by adding 4 to both sides. And then they cancel each other out. On the left side, we're left with 5n. And we put the 36 and 4 together, we're going to get 40. Then we'll get rid of the coefficient by dividing it out, and we'll have n equaling 8. Some teachers might say it's okay for you to just write a plus 4 directly underneath the equation so you don't have to rewrite the whole thing. If you're just starting out, I would recommend that you rewrite the whole problem. A lot of kids get writing just a little plus 4 underneath confused with the dividing, and then mistakes start to happen. So for this one, 7n plus 3 equaling negative 25, your plan of attack would be to focus on the left side, and you would get rid of that 3, then the 7. So you're going to subtract 3 and then divide by 7. We're getting rid of the constant. I'm going to rewrite it with a little bit of space. That's the way I'd recommend you do it for these first ones. You're going to subtract 3 from both sides. The 7n is left over on the left side. You need to remember your integer rules. Negative 25 minus 3 gives you a negative 28. To get rid of the 7, you're going to divide both sides by 7. So n is going to equal negative 4. And when you plug that negative 4 back in the original equation, 7 times negative 4 is negative 28, and then add 3, you do get the negative 25. So this one, we have negative 3n minus 8 equaling 16. We're going to tune into the left side of the equation. We're going to get rid of that negative 8 by adding 8, and then we're going to divide out the negative 3. So our plan of attack is add 8, divide by negative 3. Getting rid of the constant, which is the negative 8. We're going to do the adding. We're going to divide the coefficient out. A lot of kids will forget to divide to include the negative sign. Over here we dealt with opposites when getting rid of the constants, but with coefficients you get rid of the whole thing, you divide out the negative sign. That's going to leave you with n equaling 24 divided by negative 3 is going to be negative 8. If you plug a negative 8 back in here, negative 3 times negative 8 is 24. 24 minus 8 does give you 16. You always want to make sure that the answer actually works. Now over here we've got 12 equaling negative 8n plus 4. The variable's on the right side of the equal sign, so this time we're going to focus on the right side of the equation. We're going to get rid of that 4, then the negative 8. We're going to subtract 4, divide by negative 8. So getting rid of the constant, we're going to rewrite the problem with some space. Subtract 4. We get 8 equaling negative 8n. Then we're going to divide by that entire coefficient, including the negative sign. So we're going to divide out the negative 8. That leaves us with 8 over negative 8, working out to a negative 1. When you plug that negative 1 in, negative 8 times negative 1 is positive 8, and then 8 plus 4 does give you the 12. So the variable's back on the left side this time. But the thing is, we've got the variable term as the second term. Most equations will give you the variable term listed first. This time they don't, but it's no big deal. You just follow the same procedure. You get rid of your constant, which was a positive 8, and then you'd get rid of your coefficient. So our plan of attack is going to be to subtract 8 and then divide by negative 3. Get rid of the constant. We're going to set it up with some space. I'm going to put a negative 8 on both sides. This 8 and this negative 8 are going to cancel out. Negative 22 minus 8. That's going to give you negative 30. So notice how the minus sign also dropped. You could think of this as a minus sign, but you can also think of it as attached to the negative 3. So this is negative 3n equaling negative 30. Divide both sides by negative 3. And you're going to get n equaling 10. When you plug a 10 back up in here, you have the 3 times 10 is 30, so 8 minus 30 does give you negative 22. We have one more here. So we're going to focus on the right side of the equation sign. We're going to want to add 7 and then divide by the 5. There's the negative 7 that we want to get rid of first. So we're going to get rid of the constant. We're going to leave some space. We're going to add 7 to both sides. We have negative 35 equaling 5n. To get rid of the 5, we're going to divide it out. So we have n equaling negative 7. And if you put a negative 7 up here, 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. So 7 plus negative 35 does equal negative 42. It all works out. Hope this helps. Best of luck to you.